along in this space adventure with me. Lie down on your backs. Look up at the ceiling and pretend you're looking into outer space. Fasten your seatbelts and get ready to blast off. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, blast off! We're soaring into outer space as fast as we can go. Where we're going we can't say, 'cause we don't even know. Time to sit up slowly in our space seats. Ready? Check all your dials and lights. Now reach out and push that flashing button. Now we're really on our way. What's that sound? I'm afraid to look out the window. There's something long and silvery out there. Is it a star? Or a planet? No, it's another spaceship. Everybody wave as it sails by. That's the signal for our spacewalk. Unfasten your seatbelt. Slip into your spacesuit. Carefully open the hatch door. Look at all that spooky black darkness. Step out and walk very slowly along the outside of the space capsule. Quick, duck down. There's a shooting star. Whew, that was close. Let's turn around and walk back now. Squeeze through the hatch door and close it up tight. Take off that spacesuit. Slide back into your seat. Fasten your seatbelts and on we go. Uh-oh, this sounds like trouble. Turn the knob by your ear and do it on the double. Computer, tell us what's going on. This is your computer. Attention all passengers. You are about to enter the black hole. You must fasten your Zaxtoid seatbelt at the knees and place your arms across your chest. Prepare to enter the black hole. Now hold on tight. We're in for a rocky ride. We're out of it. But where are we now? Look to the right. Nothing over there. Look to the left. I don't see anything. Look behind you. Do you see what I see? It's the planet Earth shining in the sun. Sure looks good to me. Push that button on the right and lower yourself flat back down to the floor. Switch on your rocket boosters to re-enter the Earth's atmosphere.
that, Amy.
Here's my little country shirt. Cute, very cute.
Oh, nice.
An ensemble.
Are you going to have a number of clothes changes during the day, Amy?
Later.
It's going to be like a fashion show.
Later. What are we going to call this?
Chris is changing later, too.
Yeah?
Changing later also.
This is 12.
Every time you spill, you'll change again, right?
Right.
Is this one of those?
I'll be here. Let's see.
One more umbrella.
Randy, you mean this one?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. Somebody go in the house and get another one?
Well, you can do it too loud.
What's it been like?
Yeah, has it been
Kinda
much? Has it?
Getting
Easy
in
getting
touch
hold
with
of people?
everybody. Well,
Whose idea was this?
Randy and I and Janet have been talking about it for about a year, and we just been, well, we were going to get the invitations out in April or May, but we didn't get them out till June, so. You know how it goes. And then some people just heard about it last week.
Mm-hmm.
Like Mike Fay, he just heard about it last week, and he's coming, so. And Nick Vecchione.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we should get a good turnout. Okay, this is the sign-up place, guys.
I didn't hear it.
Well, I have a list, and I want to make sure I have everybody's address and stuff. We also have...
Hey, we had work to do.
No. Well, I wasn't doing that.
I had to get it just right. I did. I really did, though.
I'm you're gonna get in the way. Maple. Hello. Bob Depot. Hi, guys. ¿Cómo estás? I made it. Good, I'm glad.
Yes, I was.
Delinquent about being a proper guy. Go out to the street. Right. And there was no one named Ernest there, right?
But
I decided I would go with the first.
I think that,
Oh, it's a closet.
Hi.
Hi, Tom. And who's this with you here?
My beautiful wife, Laura Ann.
Hi.
Less than a month.
Yeah.
Baby,
Congratulations and almost congratulations, too.
having fun.
Great.
you know my daughter?
I've met you actually quite a few times.
Michael Peck. Hello! How you doing?
Good to see you.
Mike Peck, this is my daughter Tina.
Hi, Tina.
Nice to meet you too. How weird.
Did I? Well, Ron, I like talking to you. Andy's not Andy in Ohio.
Indiana.
Yeah, going to grad school. That's what I heard last.
I was married probably then too.
Yeah. When and where are you now?
I'm still me, and I'm living in Amsterdam.
Really?
Actually, I've been in Africa for 5 years, but now I'm back in Amsterdam.
You flew in for this?
No, I flew to see my parents for the first time in 3 years, and I arrived at Mark's a week ago yesterday, and he said, "There's a reunion tomorrow." And he called you, and you said, "Is he around? Where's Rob?" Blah, blah, blah. I sit right next to him. He's going, "No, I haven't heard from him." No, I haven't heard from him. I was trying to surprise you guys. Then Annie Regan, who's in Maine, calls everybody out here and lets the cat out of the bag.
She did. That's exactly what she did.
The
Sherpas need to rid themselves of the beers, Massa.
Could you show
Masa.
Could you show a gray shirt?
I love it. Well, Ron, your book's still in print, huh?
Yeah, they even send me money still.
Really?
Yeah, not much.
Yeah.
Never sold well.
Well, I mean, it's got to have sold 20,000 copies over the years.
Sold about 120,000.
This is Nick. Hi. Hi. And Linda and Sander. Who is this?
Story in Mike's
Who is
Sort of
this?
things you've been doing for the last 20 years.
Well, for the last 2, we've been doing this, right? Well, the story starts with leaving Santa Cruz together and going to Los Angeles.
where Sandy put me through a graduate program.
And then we went to Boston, and Linda put me through graduate school.
Snowed a lot, so I said back to California. Yep. Why don't you put him down? Put him down. Adios. Adios. Sophie.
I don't know. Santa Cruz was the one of the nicest places that we ever lived, and made most of these friends who we've still stayed in touch with. That's been one of the best things in our lives.
What did you like about Santa Cruz?
The trees, the school, people we met. It was just a very isolated and low-pressured place with a lot of excellent people there trying to explore new ideas, and kind of formed a community that's lasted for a long time since then.
Did it change you all?
Huh? Well, it's hard to attribute what might have been changed versus just growing up there. In any case. All right, well, I think I got to go run to the pool.
Glasses, but I couldn't see through them. So. I hope people recognize me.
Who is it?
Behind the Foster... Oh, are you supposed to talk into this? Behind the Foster Grants.
Now, tell me about yourself. What have you been doing lately?
Hanging out by the beach in Long Beach and trying to work as little as possible.
What do you do?
I'm doing education research in the schools. What does that mean? Well, we study problems in schools. We do evaluations of school programs and write papers and go to conferences and stuff like that. Beats working, you know.
Anything
Teach once in a while.
unusual you've done in the last 10 years?
I lived in Washington for 4 years.
You did? Washington?
D.C. I was a bureaucrat for 4 years. And I only stayed for 4 years because I was afraid I'd really turn into a bureaucrat, so I came back to California.
Tell us about Santa Cruz. What was it like when you were there?
When I was there, it was wild. It was fun. What was wild about
What do
it?
you like about it?
Well, we had a good group, and we had some good parties, and it was a fun college, and it
What were
was...
you like when you first went there?
What was I like? I was like kind of a hippie. I don't know.
Did Santa Cruz change you at all?
No, not really. I don't think so.
Do you have any weird story you can tell us? Something that happened when you were in Santa Cruz?
I'll have to think about that, Mike. Okay, I'll think of a good story, okay?
Hi. I'm Ann's friend Dave.
Hi, Dave. Now, did you...
I didn't go to UC Santa Cruz. I went to UCSB, actually.
Did you? Now, have you been to Santa Cruz?
I've been to Santa Cruz. I haven't been to the campus.
You haven't?
No.
What have you heard
It's nice.
from Ann about Santa Cruz?
I heard it was pretty wild.
Yeah?
Not as wild as UCSB, but it was pretty wild.
He's here!
Where? Steve Donahue's here?
Yes, he's here. He's here.
Hey, Mike, how you doing?
Take your glasses off, Howard.
Unbelievable time.
How are you doing, Howard?
I'm doing great. And now that you've given me this microphone, I'd like to sing a song. Oh, I thought you wanted me to
Sing a
sing.
song first.
Well, no, we were looking at these pictures here of all the good times, and it just brings back so many great memories. Doesn't it, Janet?
It sure does.
And tell us about some of your memories, Janet.
No, you tell me about yours first.
What's the weirdest thing that happened to you at Santa Cruz?
Meeting the rest.
During college or after?
Either.
After college, 1982 flood.
Oh, okay.
That was pretty weird. Water up to the waist.
Yeah? How
Yeah.
about in college? What was it like? What were you like when you first went to school?
What was I like?
Focus in. This is what she was like.
And
I feel like I'm the same now as I was then. And Nick the proctor, and many times people wandering around the quads at Steve.
at night?
At night.
Yeah? Okay.
And Nick taking care of everybody.
That's right. He kind of
Who
took
was
care
that?
of us.
I don't know who that is.
I think that's Lance, isn't it?
No. Who wasn't this one of the professors?
How's Cynthia doing?
I heard that she's due to deliver her second child any day now.
And where does she live?
I'm not sure. Chuck Sabat is the one who would know. In Washington, D.C. is where he is. Gail Percy is in Vancouver.
What are they doing?
I do not know, unless they call us today.
Oh, okay. Oh, but there's going to be people that have videos that are coming, right? Like
Steve Borges should be sending a video, I would think.
Who else would you like to see that you don't think's going to make it today? Name some.
I think we got him covered.
Mike Heck would be nice to see. Oh, you better.
And yeah, but who are you?
She used to go with Steve Borges.
Uh-huh.
And I lived with her a couple of times. We lived out by the
And
beach.
Sandy and I were together when Nancy was with Rich. And then Sandy, and then Sandy.
I'm sorry.
And then Steve and I were together for a little while. Carlson.
I didn't know you were.
After Steve and Linda were together.
Oh, right, Linda.
And then Sandy and Linda got together.
Right.
And
That's all she wrote.
And then Nancy and I moved in together and lived together for the rest of college, from Anthony Street to King
Did I
Street.
say Nick
King
coming?
Street, yeah.
Nick back down?
He just said, yeah.
He was so excited. He goes, who's going to be there? I told him, oh, I'll be sure.
I want to know if Tony Templer's coming.
I think Tony's coming.
He must.
I think so.
Alice isn't coming, right?
No, because he couldn't afford it. He's in Boston.
Oh, that's fine. Steve is.
Steve
Carlson.
Yeah. Steve and, who else? We'll see.
The party at Riggs Street where the two girls came over from San Jose and got naked and danced with Rich. Yeah, it was Rich. Rich was dancing naked in the living room with these two girls, naked as a jaybird, and then when he finished dancing with them, he drank a six-pack of beer and peed in the corner for like 3 minutes. That's how I remember it.
My house, I can do anything I want, but
It was sort of a true story, actually.
Well, it was. Actually, there was an individual who peed in the corner. The longest pee on record at Riggs Street. Were you there that night? The guy peed in the corner?
that wasn't.
That was
Inside. No.
I don't know if it was the last one or not. There was a night though that also that we had somebody over that didn't take something that agreed with him and was very violent of sorts. It didn't really hurt anybody, but it took 4 of us to subdue him in a rose bush in the backyard. We all jumped on him. I'll have to talk to Randy about that one. No, this was another, but I think it was the same night. I think it was the same night. It was a pretty wild party. We had a serious party. You were in the band.
Serious party. Well, there was a male. He was male. We hope he was male. Last we checked, he was male.
I'm so glad. Was it? Yes. Hi.
Nice to be seen.
Nice to be seen.
Don't you sit around like it's kind of working in
Yeah.
Is there any chance you should
Yeah, he's supposed to come. He's living in Santa Cruz.
Years ago, and he didn't want to see me.
I swear to God, I didn't
He wanted to keep cooling out. You know?
This is my daughter,
Oh, let's see your daughter. This is Howard's
What did he say?
Madison.
He was been an inmate
Yeah.
at the rehab center, and then he became a counselor.
Oh, good.
He's a counselor. I don't think I can do it.
How old is she now?
She's 3 years old now.
Tell us about her. I can understand.
Well, supposedly she's going to be psychic because she was born totally in the sack, as they say. In other words, you know, like this whole thing around her. And the doctor said it wasn't dangerous, but according to ancient lore, you're supposed to be able to tell the future. So we'll see. She's a great kid. She's real smart. She's a little bratty, a little spoiled. But what can we do? So everybody seems to be having like a few kids, 2, 3 kids. But I'm staying with the one right now.
And now we have camera David.
She's psychic, so it'll be okay. Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
Well, I've been gone a long time. Yes, and the world is a lovely place. Yes, it's very fine. And yes, I was in Africa for 5 years, and I was doing what I've always done. Still doing what I've always done, but I'm out of Africa now. Not in the movie, actually, just have left Africa. Living in Amsterdam, trying to... It's a wonderful place. You have to develop radar so you don't step on dog turds when you're walking around, but it's a good place. Liberal political environment, suits me well, yeah.
How often do you come back here?
I haven't been here for 3 years, and I'm actually just here accidentally. I came to see my mommy and daddy, and...
So this is a bizarre experience.
Yes, it was supposed to be last Saturday, and I arrived on Friday, so Yes, it's just one of those things. Absolutely not. I would never consider it. No, I'm going to just vacation here. America's a very weird fascist state, I might add, for all of you youngsters who'll experience this later in life.
Yeah, go ahead and corrupt.
It's a very fascist place. I am the bad influence that your parents have warned you about, and I am still around, so look out.
And you were a bad influence on their parents, too.
Yes, oh yes, I've been blamed by your grandparents, I will tell you, for being a very bad influence.
Of course, a lot of their parents were a bad influence on you, too.
Yes, they were. They were really trying to bend my ways. And, yes, but
Tell us what you were like when you were trying to
I was a Christian. I had never smoked pot. Actually, this is for Ron Blair's parents if they ever look at this. He turned me on to weed. Honest, it was not my fault. Thank you very much. No, I was a straight Christian boy.
And how about when you left Santa Cruz?
I was a completely corrupt, drug-enjoying human being. Sex, drugs, rock and roll. We learned a lot in Santa Cruz. Yeah.
So basically, a lot of books on you whatsoever.
Absolutely none whatsoever. I'm still a good Christian boy. The weirdest thing?
We could probably go on for 3 hours with you.
The very weirdest thing was I graduated from UC Santa Cruz. That's the weirdest thing that happened to me, yes. Yeah, it took me 5 years, but I did finally graduate. Went on to graduate school where I didn't graduate. Oh, Mike's full of questions. He's got that. This is actually not Michael Peck. This is Wally Waterbed who's interviewing me. You have to understand that. This.
What was the street? Was it Archie?
Wallace J.
What was the
Waterbed.
street down of Bay?
The one off Bay Street?
Off Bay with Sue Rose and Laguna. That's right.
Laguna Street, that's right. You have to remember in this interview that some people can't remember things because they had too much fun in college. But the miracle is, how much? College? UC Santa Cruz, that was a college? Uncle Charlie's summer camp, that was don't remember any of them.
Hey, Clark. I'm Andy. Andy Turner, Stevenson, 78, 72 to 78. You gotta
But wait, that's more
clarify that. Well, that would be 6 years. Isn't that what it takes to get a degree at Santa Cruz? That's right, the last I heard. Some people longer. I don't think, did Rick Hatch ever get his?
Yeah, I think 81.
Rick Hatch has the record that I know of, unless you.
I'm still working on
You're still working on. I didn't want to raise any skeleton. I'm trying to be polite. You're still working on it? Oh my God.
Well, not really. Let's say I'm on an extended sabbatical.
What I remember about Peck, however, is. Was it Beulah? Which one got stolen, Bertha or Rose? Beulah got stolen. I'm the guy that tried to tell you not to let that guy spend the night.
You were the guy that gave me the good advice.
I'm the guy that gave you the good advice. Everybody else says, the guy's cool, he's got dope, let him stay, man. He's really cool. I'm going, get this guy out of here. He wakes up at 3 in the morning, takes your car, and we find it at the airport. Didn't they find it at San Francisco airport?
I found it at the airport. I called the police and they said it wasn't there, so I went up looking, figuring it might be there.
Oh, you found it. I always thought the cops found
I
it.
drove through the parking lot and finally found the thing, but the guy had stolen $1,500 out of the trunk of my car.
Where? What?
$100 that Wayne Fisk had lent me.
Wayne Fisk has lent you for what purpose? Shall we continue with this, or?
He had lent me to buy some books.
Buy some books.
There was going to be a big book sale.
There was a book sale. That's right. Because I wrote a lot of checks for books in my lifetime.
Yeah, right.
Books. We were just talking about that. I bought a lot of books. I read a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of reading. Yeah, I remember trips in Rose and Beulah over 17.
Yeah.
And then I remember the last 5 nights of the Grateful Dead where Peck's house was the center of operations in San Mateo. We didn't need you.
My brother said, oh, yeah. I called up there and they said, oh yeah, you got all kinds of friends up here. They're having a great time.
Well, that was great. That was great. That was when the Grateful Dead were allegedly going to break up, and that was the last concert of the Grateful Dead. They went Wednesday through Sunday, 5-night stint at the Winterland. I had to take Saturday off and go home and recuperate because of what was going on in Peck's house. God knows there was no parental guidance there. And no Peck guidance either.
It explains what happened to Peck, right?
That's right. No, that is... No, that hardly... What about your dog? Remember the dog?
Dog Phil? Yeah, he's the, well, he's dead now. Have a moment of silence for Phil. He died of cancer.
Moment of silence for Phil. Phil read a lot of books, too.
That's right.
Phil had flashbacks if you played Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah, his name started out psilocybin, and it got shortened to Phyllis Sarbin, and then we found out that she was a he, so it became Phil.
Took him 3 years to figure out it was a male dog.
Phil knocked over a can of red fluorescent paint and rolled over and ran all over my room, so my whole room lit up with a black light, including Phil, too, after that.
You gotta love Phil.
Okay, now tell me a weird story, Andy.
I just told you many weird stories. Weird story taken.
Tell me your strangest Rob Clark story.
Strangest Rob Clark story was from the time we took the recommendation of some guy we barely knew as a total derelict and snorted something called JP318 and spent 4 hours hanging onto the grass so it wouldn't fall off the world as it turned around. I don't know what it was to this day, but it was bad.
Well, what's so strange about that? I said a weird story.
No, that's a strange. That was my strange story. Weird story is not many. I mean, take a look. Nothing can be weirder than reality. Reality is stranger than fiction.
Weird. So tell me what you're doing these days.
I'm a lawyer, unfortunately. No, I like it. Business law, general business, do a lot of water law for water agency clients. It's a little specialty. Don't do personal injury, don't do criminal. Can't defend you, Peck, sorry. Live in Long Beach? No, I'm not rich. My ex-wife is well-to-do. I'm not a Republican.
Okay, well, that's good.
And I work every day. That's it.
Okay.
And thank you.
You have a bunch of kids, right?
Oh, we have 6 kids. 3 of my own and 3 stepkids. 18, 18, 12, 11, 9, and 3.
Sounds like you won the lottery. Those
Cool.
6 numbers. Okay.
All right.
Look at you, though.
Yeah, I look a little. Well, look at me. Ann looks one way and I look the other. Oh, that's good. That is a good picture. She looks, she always looks that way though. That is really neat. Yeah, that was just the old blue car. Where was this at?
That was at,
Oh, well, thank you, dear.
That was just at, what was that restaurant downtown?
The Cooper House.
Cooper House.
That's not there.
I'm going to show you your mom.
Yeah. Oh, look at this.
Mr. Pack, I just stuffed my face with a bagel. Talk to Annie while I chew.
He wants some lewd stories from Santa Cruz.
Yeah, do you have any, well, I didn't ask for lewd stories, but do you have lewd ones?
Well, when we had the reunion 10 years ago, some people ended up sleeping on the pool table in Fahey's old room, remember?
And I woke up and hit my head.
My old boyfriend, Jay was there, and my old boyfriend, and Jay slept on the pool table in Fahey's old room at Rigg Street. He got up in the morning, he was totally hungover, he went outside and he saw Louise and Joe, and they were coming out of their van, they said, hey, want a beer?
I thought that was
And he loved Louise and Joe because they were good partiers.
I thought that was the party I slept under the pool table. I woke up in the morning with bang, bashed myself out, knocked myself out again.
Probably.
Yeah. The best party ever was the Halloween party, where at 4 o'clock in the middle of the night I went down the stairs and sprained my ankle. Remember, I was crawling up the stairs and Randy was going, Louise, I'm going to take you to the hospital. I'm going, no. I have pictures from that party at Rigg Street.
And so she got her ticket at the doctor and sent her through that.
And I remember one party Jeannie was giving when I don't know if you were living there, but Jeannie brought everybody home from the Catalyst one night. And some of us had to work, and it was like 2 in the morning. Jeannie brought all the Catalysts home, and they cranked up the music, and I went down in my half asleep and went down and turned the music down, and this woman named Esmeralda, I remember, some woman from the Catalyst, and I turned the music down, she came over and she got mad at me, she goes, what are you doing turning the music down? I says, I live here.
Or how about the time I brought all the people home from Denny's at 7 in the morning? We were swimming in the pool with a case of beer at 7
Is that when you were nude?
Oh, clothes on, I think.
Everybody was nude one time. Hey, Randy.
How about the strip pool game? Where we woke up the next morning, there was clothes from the pool table after the pool.
That was Jeannie's party, I think.
That was me and bass player from Snail.
That was Louise having a nude party. Where were they dancing naked? Oh, I remember. I do remember. Some guy was peeing on. He went to the turntable. Remember the turntable in the living room at Ring Street? And he picked up the top and he thought it was a toilet. He was real drunk and he started peeing on the.
That explains why the record wasn't playing right.
He wasn't even watching the guy peeing on the record. He thought it was a toilet and he picks it up.
Did he put the lid down? Men never do that. Thank God. Even on turntables.
They were of fine black bamboo, as I recall, waxed on the inside, sanded and formed to your mouth on the outside.
To your mouth, no doubt.
Replaceable spouts. Only guy in the world that had replaceable spouts. When your bamboo spout burned out, you come to Mac, I'd replace it for you.
Well, as I recall, you used to have your own personal one that had replaceable ones, and you'd be loading one spout while we were toking the one, because the problem with bongs is there's a little bit of downtime in it.
That's right.
Engineered around.
That's right. We had clay spouts.
It goes hit, boom, hit, boom, hit, boom, and you just kept it going.
That's right.
Do any of those still exist, or is there like a museum or anything?
Actually, the bong museum kind of went the way of all drug paraphernalia. They disappeared. Actually, one was still in existence up to about 2 years ago. Wayne Frabel had the original waxed bong, and it was probably a good 15 years old. Stunk really bad, really bad. But hadn't cracked. It was in beautiful condition, and I smoked out of it. It was a fond memory. Fondest memories.
So if someone still has one,
Now
it's
he's
totally
doing
worth
what
a lot.
he
Yeah, they would be. In fact, if we could find some bamboo, we could make another one. We could make a whole new batch of them.
Probably some bamboo somewhere here.
Oh.
I remember when Clark and I
just landed.
was considering adopting a few Vietnamese orphans.
That's why he's not.
Do you remember the Vietnamese orphans during the Vietnam War in the 70s? You could adopt an orphan, and we figured they could change the stereo, change the records on the turntable, cook and clean, and they probably were born knowing how to make bongs.
Yeah.
We thought it was the ideal answer to all of our problems. We could just lay there like sloths and have our children run
I heard
errands.
that at one point that they were paying people $50 a fingernail for real fingernails. So I was thinking of starting a fingernail farm and just letting people stay, and I'd feed them and give them lots of Jello and stuff.
Oh,
and let
yeah.
them stay there, and then I'd just cut their fingernails off.
Oh,
Fingernail farming.
You could probably get an SBA loan for that.
Mike, it's fine. We're having a good time. Mike is doing a great job bidding everybody, and we're very happy that.
What's it like seeing all these people?
What's it like seeing? Well, nobody looks that much older. Everybody looks pretty much the same, just a little balder and a little fatter. So it's okay. We're having fun. And so now we're into Rob Clark, who is, for anybody interested in staying at the
Mermaid Hotel. All single women, stray dogs, and everything else. You can find me there. It's very nice. Would you like a matchbook, actually?
But he won't be there for long, so if you don't get him today, you won't get him.
Very nice.
Oh,
yes.
Mermaid.
Yeah, that was right before I went to grad school. One of my big shocks is one of my smart little undergraduate students brought said Life magazine into the class I was teaching and showed it to all the other students.
Not cool.
Instant lack of respect. That was it, folks. Yeah, the students never took me seriously after that.
But High Times did come and do a feature article on him also.
Yeah, that's cocaine.
Sounds like a good legit business.
Started out behind that.
Yeah, no, but that's, I just didn't know how you got it out.
Yeah, I never heard of that class. I had friends in grad school who said that.
Well, yeah, she after the MBA
I've been going to graduate school at UCLA, studying applied linguistics, language acquisition theory, that sort of thing, and pretty fascinating. I really like it. I'm liking being a student again. I'm much more serious this time around. And
What have you done like this?
well, you know, a couple of things. Yeah, a couple of things. I just got married less than a month ago, June 20th, in fact, and baby's coming end of August, 6 weeks or so from now. And so we're real jazzed about that. And Laura Diane's here, but you'll meet her later. Laura Diane is here, but you'll meet her later. It's going to be potluck. No, we're I guess the predominant point of view is that we're going to have a boy, but I don't know exactly what that's based on. But then my intuition is not as developed as Laura Diane, so. Or maybe the inside of my stomach or something is not quite as developed as far as the kicking is concerned. Los Angeles, wow. You know, it's like, it's always terrible until you actually get down there and spend some time there, and then it's kind of fun. You know, I mean, you kind of adjust to the problems with it, and but we don't want to stay there, but still. Oh, I loved living in Santa Cruz. I had a hard time. I was one of those who had a hard time departing. I went away to get my acting training for a couple of years, Cal Arts, and to clown school, and took a year off between to drive buses in Culver City and study French so I could study in Paris, but I never went to Paris for that. And just toured a one-man show. I wanted an excuse to go see Rick Hatch and Suzanne Forsyth in Australia, so I put a one-man show together and went over there and performed it in Sydney and Melbourne and New Zealand, Wellington, Auckland, and I managed to get a handful of performances in each country and had a really great time with it, and came back, started my own business so I could do more of that in the future, but my business was in the natural distribution business, and I bombed badly. Went bankrupt for $50,000 in about a year and a half. About the same time my first marriage wasn't working out, so I was like a real low point, but now it's all coming back around, and it's working out pretty well. I paid off like $35,000 of the $50,000 to friends and small business people. It took 4 years, 5 years. Basically, I earned myself a promotion and a lot more responsibility in the natural foods industry. And so when I finally got to the end of paying off the part I was going to pay off of that, Hank Niles was my attorney, by the way. Yeah, good old Hank Niles. Oh, not lately, but I've been in touch with him once or twice by mail. But he's got a practice in Santa Cruz and is doing real well. He's getting to be a big shot in the Santa Cruz Bar Association, I guess. Yeah, he's a good guy. He did a good job for me, and so that was all squared away, and I've recovered for that. I started looking out for other things to do, and I discovered teaching English as a second language, and I'm highly motivated because it's a lot of the same motivation that I had for getting into the acting business, about communication between people in different ways that can manifest, and so pretty fascinating field, and I may even go for a PhD. There may finally be a doctor in the family, Mike. Doctor in the family. See you. Bye.
Okay, hi Mike, I don't remember.
This is Ellen. Ellen with an E, Zimmerman with a Z.
Known Ann since
That's right. She's known.
college days, a few years ago.
That's right. The only college we went to was the campus parties. I was good at that. I majored in campus parties. That's right. I loved going to school.
I think you graduated.
I did. Oh yes. Boy, I'll tell you what.
Tell me about some of them.
If I could remember them, I would tell you about it. No, I don't want to hold that. That's incriminating.
The nude one in Santa Cruz.
What nude party? Do you remember a nude party in Santa Cruz?
That's when they were streaking.
Oh, the streakers. Oh, that we used that as an excuse. Streaking. I remember those streaking days, Monday through Sunday. But I only did it when I drank. So that was Monday through Sunday.
This is my husband, Barry.
My name's Smedley. Smedley.
No. Your
Hi,
real
Barry.
name, Canterbury.
Canterbury. Oh, is this
Yes.
the big interview here?
Yes.
So I've done this before, Mike.
I haven't. Then you could do it. You could take over.
It was a great bar mitzvah.
Yeah, how was the bar mitzvah today? How do you think he did?
It was wonderful. And here's Bonnie.
Oh, and here's Bonnie.
Bonnie Shane
Bonnie,
Equinum.
come here. Whoops. No.
Where's Bonnie?
No. She's
Say hi.
Can you say hi? Can you say hi?
Hi.
Here's your hair.
Thanks for the suit, by the way.
Where's your eyes? Where's your nose? Where's your mouth? Where's your teeth? Yeah, I had 2 little girls, age 7, age almost 2. I work in digital telecommunications.
Where's that?
San Jose. Work for NEC America. And we make equipment for the public telephone companies.
Really?
Yes, and if it weren't for us, you would still be using the old wires, the old loop carriers, and now you're using digital loop
Now,
carriers.
weren't you an economics major?
Yes, I used to be economics.
Weren't you my economics teacher, as a matter of fact?
Really?
I think so.
I was a teacher's assistant at one point.
For me specifically, I was. In fact, you wrote an evaluation, if I recall right.
Really? I hope it was it a good one?
It was a good one, but it started out something like, Peck did a really great job. Total lies, all of it. You just got me through it. But I love the way it just started out. Peck.
You know, well, it's funny because when Janet told me you were coming, then I couldn't remember your last name. Well,
we can always add it.
Okay. Well, Rob was trying to sell some pencils.
Okay, that's good.
To someone, and there was this other person called Oscar Ogg, and I'll tell you about him later. There was a TV movie made about him and his wife about 5 years ago. But anyway, he was trying to sell these pencils, and Oscar Ogg was sort of the middleman. And Oscar Ogg went off to get the people to buy the pencils, and we waited and waited and waited, and like he just never came. And then we got this mysterious phone call that said, "Leave, or you're going to be kidnapped and maybe shot." So we left, and so we barely escaped. Anyway, so yeah, and then later on...
So what happened with the pencils?
I think that there really weren't any pencils. I think it was one of those pencil scams that you hear about all the time.
Yeah.
So that those two people did get caught. Oscar Ogg left town. He went back to Chicago. And he was from a very famous, well-to-do family.
Into pencils? Pennsylvania?
No. Maybe, perhaps, but...
Yeah.
But then later they made a movie about his wife because his wife ended up getting some, I think leukemia, some type of cancer, but she miraculously recovered. And it was just a story with a happy ending.
So there was a happy ending to all this.
Thank
you.
Which near kidnapping?
Oscar Ogg.
Oh, the Oscar Ogg. The Oscar Ogg tale.
Remember those pencils you were trying to buy?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really not a good situation, yes. There were pencil thieves around. Pencil thieves wanted to, well, they did actually kidnap Oscar, and then they were trying to get to the big pencil possessor. They went after me, and I ended up hiding out at Janet's house with a 12 gauge across my lap. I think this is enough said.
Hi, what are you doing? You're late? Well, you better get here.
Who's he talking to?
It's a place 2 bets on...
It's a Hollywood talent scout. They're missing it.
Give me the Mets in 7. These days, I run a business called Carlson Burke. We're a computer systems company.
Where is it?
And we're in Oakland. Been doing that for about 5 years now.
All right.
It's great.
You live over in the East Bay? Or?
You know what the big fires were?
Yeah, you live right
That's
there.
where we live there.
Oh, where you used to live?
No, we were about a quarter of a mile away. But that's where we are.
You guys don't have the fires market cornered, you know.
That's true.
Our fires were bigger than yours, I dare say. Or more.
No, we had much bigger
No,
fires.
yours were bigger, but ours were more.
You had
we
more?
had a couple hundred going at one time.
Where are you living?
I only started 3 or 4 myself. I don't know about the other ones. Mike, I'm glad you asked. Do we need this guy anymore?
No,
Shall we banish him back into the bushes from whence you came?
We'll be back to get him later.
Oh, Mike, I've been living in the South Bay for the last number of years, and I, too, have gotten involved in computers, having gone to computer school studying programming, finding that I wasn't very good at it, despite liking it, and I emerged a baby technical writer and system operator, And I have two very good titles, which you think would be worth at least $60,000 a year. Oftentimes they're worth nothing but scorn and a huge phone bill. That's technical writer and computer consultant.
Where are you living?
I'm living in Redondo Beach, California, where the fog meets the smog. And it was quite lovely many years ago, but I've had my fill of it, and I'm considering moving to Costa Rica, which is out of California.
Somewhere out there.
Uh-huh.
Tell me about Santa Cruz. What was it like?
Santa Cruz, in retrospect, I would say was rather idyllic. Everything was safe, everything was free. We could do anything we wanted, basically. We were young, we were handsome, and we had parents bankrolling it all.
Did it was only would all live in there?
Yeah, I would say it did. I wanted to go to a couple different schools to pursue my major of marine biology. I found, though, that I got seasick and I wasn't good at math, and I didn't feel like killing dozens of creatures, as was necessary to define a new species, hundreds maybe. So I switched over. I didn't take advantage of a lot of the good things that there were there, such as some great professors. Gregory Bateson was there, Tom Lehrer was there, Norman O'Brown. I was tired. I'd work my butt off just to get out of 8th grade, you know, in Beverly Hills, and high school was a little easier, though still pretty arduous. So I wanted to kick back and get to know myself, and I did that. But still, I would have liked to have availed myself to more of the academia. And if I could give myself some advice in retrospect, I'd say, Paul, don't be so shy.
Oh man, that's I'm trying to piece that together. The reports are not good though. The reliable reports are not good. Yeah.
Where have you been?
Mostly on this planet, but not consistently, not with any consistency.
Out there?
Possibly including intergalactic or interdimensional travel.
So you took the bar?
1981, yeah.
And passed it?
Passed the bar, yeah.
And did you practice law?
No, I continued to load trucks for a living for about 4 years. Loader. Yep, yeah, I did that.
Where are you living now?
I live in Santa Rosa. My office is in San Rafael. I'm in the process of moving to San Rafael.
And what do you do?
I'm an attorney.
You are an attorney?
Mm-hmm.
And so you have any good stories you can tell us? What's the weirdest thing you could think of as a Santa Cruz?
Oh God, no, not at this moment. But if I think of something, I will.
Okay, remember the time we were coming back, driving down Highway 1? There were seven of us in the car. Pouring. It was after a Dead concert. Everybody in the car except for me, because I was driving, was tripping.
Right.
Everybody. And I was driving. And in Half Moon Bay, we got pulled over. Okay? The cops pulled us over. I remember I was driving south. The cops came around and they were following us for a while. And I noticed it, and everybody, like, you were in the front seat, I think.
In the back seat.
But everybody in the back seat, their eyes were all glazed.
And everybody in the front seat, when the cop pulled us over, handed all the drugs to everybody in the back seat.
Exactly. Okay, so the cop, so I pulled over, and now we're in this huge, what kind of car was it?
54 Buick.
54 Buick Special, the Buick Special. Huge car. This was the biggest car ever made, ever. And I was driving, and they come over, and they ask for my license, they ask for the registration, and I give it to them, and they asked me to step out. And I said, what's wrong? And they wouldn't say. They said, we want to look in your trunk. So, of course, I had no idea what was in your trunk. It was your car. And I was the only one that could drive. So I just said, okay, you can look in the trunk. So we looked in the trunk, and then they closed it up. Everything was fine. Luckily, there was nothing in it. And when I asked them again what was wrong, they said, this car is similar to one that was given to us as described it was described as one that was in a robbery right around here recently. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, a robbery, a 54 Buick Special, 7 people in it. And you think we were involved in a robbery tonight? Right. Okay. But I remember everybody was, and normally when you get stopped by the police, you're all like, oh, okay, no problem. Everybody in the car was like, oh, wow. I mean, it was it was a good concert. I'm sure it was the Dead.
Yes.
Back in 1980,
Andy was always very... I still got it. Still got his moves, folks, after all these years.
Christine McGinnis, 1992 model.
She just popped in from Portland.
Yeah, came in.
Turn around, Jeannie.
breaking into the airwaves.
I think my hair's longer now.
This is my husband, Brooke.
How do you do? Georgia is probably still much the same.
I can't stand it. Where are you? Why aren't you here? Are you? Oh, but are you gonna make it? Hello, Mama. Oh, Lance. Ooh.
Yes, and he wants you to say something to people. All right, you want me to put Mike Peck? Okay, here it goes.
Okay, Lance, talk. We can't hear you, but we will later.
Surprise phone calls? Yeah, we're expecting a few, but I'd like you to turn around the camera and show the lounge chair specialist. This is Janet Morandi's husband, Pat Miller, attorney at law, making sure that he knows what is happening in the world by reading the San Francisco Chronicle. Going to tell us all about Ross Perot and how he's going to change the world now that he's not running for president.
I could handle it.
Quite frankly, no.
Handle the bottle.
Jesus, you are genius.
Quite frankly.
Johnny, you and Jeannie McGinnis.
You said frame of reference, please. I just expected you to be such a trip. I thought you were in Amsterdam. I'm fine. You look just the same.
You look great. You don't look the same to me somehow.
I guess not.
Yeah, he can't lie now and say
I look good, thanks.
Good, how are you?
This is bizarre.
Yeah,
This is like
it's
too
getting more
much.
bizarre.
I didn't do it. Stop me that.
They quit.
I love this.
How the hell are you? Where are you? No, it's
How you doing?
That's what I was going to ask Andy about Lance this morning. I got off to it, so thank you for reading
Who are those people, Gene? Tell us.
Wendy Kellogg, new husband John, I can never remember his last name. Becky Chenoweth, my daughter. Evan Chenoweth, my son.
They look exactly.
They're my thought. Well, that's my dad.
Those are Gene McGinnis's two kids. What are their names?
This is Evan and Becky.
How old are they now?
God, you're so good at this. Evan is almost 6, and Becky is 2.5. And
A little bit about your kids, Gene.
okay. Evan, of course, is brilliant, and he's tall, and he's going to be a hit in kindergarten. And Becky she's fairly tall too for her age, and she's wonderful. And they're not perfect, but they're, you know, fairly close. Right.
How do you like it?
I like Portland a lot. I'm inviting everyone to come up who's a windsurfer to come visit.
Do you do windsurfing?
My husband does. He's into it. I was learning before I got pregnant with Evan, and now I don't want to do it anymore.
You live right in Portland?
We live in a little bit outside of Portland, and the Gorge is the place to windsurf, an international spot. So people have a place to stay when they want to come windsurf, or when they're traveling around, they should come visit us in Portland and stop in because we have room.
Tell me about Santa Cruz.
Okay, this involves Howard Rittenberg and Michael Beck. George and I were just telling the story at lunch. We're driving back either in Beulah or in Mike Ford. Wait a second.
This is amazing. It's the same.
Is this oh no,
It's amazing that we all remember this.
Well, it's because I was scared so shitless that we were busted. And Howard's driving. And I think Michael Peck was in the car, Tim Donahue, Rob Clark. Yes, and all these drugs were going down everyone's pants. And you were trying to decide whether or not to swallow them. And I'm glad you did. I don't think you did. And Howard Rittenberg, the cop comes up and says, like Beulah, right? A car just described like this was described leaving the scene of a burglary. And we're all going, yeah, there's so many of these. But Howard responds perfectly. The word at the time was maintain. Howard maintains. And the cop says, maybe you look in the trunk, please. And Howard he was able to walk to the trunk and open it, and we're inside all just praying. And Howard got rid of them. And they didn't even give you like a breath or nothing. No test or anything. And we drive back. And all of us admired Howard immensely for that.
So Pex picks me up, and he's got his grandmother in the car. She's in the front seat. That's the street. We're on the street. She's in the seat. We're going down. Peck has this kind of like sugar that you use to keep awake while you're driving. And we would take turns distracting his grandmother while we took care of business while we were driving on 101. And I just remember before the 280 and the 680 were finished, they had this stack of freeway overpasses in the middle of nowhere, and they weren't even done. And I had Grandma looking at that for the longest time while Beck took care of business. And she was none the wiser. All that was in Beulah. Beulah was a 54 Buick Special. Beulah, she was a good woman. She served Peck well. She will never be forgotten. She was, however, unceremoniously dumped for Rose.
Yeah, but I got her back.
What did I do in Santa Cruz?
Yeah, what happened? Tell me a story. We're listening.
I...
The weirdest thing that happened.
I can tell you, let's see, I can tell you about my connection to the people here. How's that? I lived in the Big Pink House at Belmont Street with Steve and Ellis and Sandy. And first, Sandy and I were together when Nancy was with Rich, and Steve Carlson was with Linda Thorson. And then they split up. Sandy and I split up. Steve and I were together for a little while. And then Sandy and Linda got together, and they're still married today. So that was my connection to Rigg Street. What else? What can I tell you about? At Belmont Street?
Yeah.
It was great. Steve and Ellis had a Japanese rock garden happening in the back. I can't remember.
What do you think of Rigg Street? What was that place like?
You know, I really wasn't at Rigg Street that much. Most of the time when I went, everybody was loaded. I was at Stevenson, but I was mostly back and forth between the dance department and the sculpture department.
What year did you start this?
72. Nancy and I actually know each other from the time we were about 13. We danced together in a modern dance class in Los Angeles, and when we both were accepted to Santa Cruz, we wound up rooming together at Stevenson. Is that a kitty cat? It's pretty.
How old are you?
3. You're 3?
Is that right? Oh, where do you live? I'd be having a hissy fit if I were you.
Where do you live? Do you remember? Ocean View Avenue.
The sexiest girl in our group.
Thank you. What a compliment.
Damn, you look hot, my dear.
Thank you. I looked across, I said, is he still bigger?
I'm really sorry, but I had to ask who you were.
Well, I had to ask
When
her.
they told me, I went, oh, cool. You look great.
Mike didn't know who I was either.
How many children?
Just one. Sophie, where is she? She was just here.
Oh, well, they come and they go.
Put your glasses there. Well, Greg.
Hi. That's Sophie, and I'm Marshall, and I go with Tanya. And we're visitors, right? So,
We're sitting in, we're sleeping over at their house.
at whose is that?
Max and Nancy and the kids.
Max and Nancy and the kids. And how did we come up? Did we fly to San Francisco?
Yeah.
Where do we live?
Ocean View Avenue.
On Ocean View Avenue, where?
In our house.
Max, and I married Nancy Bronstein, I guess to you guys.
You having a good time here, Max?
I have a great time, but I know about a third of the people here. I don't know you. How do you do? Nice to meet you too. So yeah, we've come to Randy's pool parties before, and we're starting to wonder I'm starting to wonder when the kids are outnumber the adults here. We're getting close. But it's great. It's nice. It looks like a fun time for all those immaturities. In any phase, actually.
Zen Slug from Santa Cruz. It's a Santa Cruz classic since 1987. And what it says is, you must see with the entire body what cannot be perceived with the eye.
I was really glad.
Ah, so.
I talked to Ellis McKenzie.
Tell me about the conversation in detail.
Ellis is living in Boston, Massachusetts, going to graduate school to get his 18th doctorate degree.
Really? A doctor of doctorates.
A doctor of doctorates. And he is now in summer school, taking organic biochemistry, I believe. His wife, Kate, is in the middle of nowhere in New Guinea, somewhere midway between Port Moresby and Pau Pau. And she will be there till Christmas. So he's doing well and sends his best to everybody.
Everybody?
Not, well, there was a person.
Everybody.
Not them.
Show the guy. Show the guy, Mike.
Show the guy.
Here's Steve.
You're the grass mistress.
Yes. I'm the hostess to the grass. Yeah. And Lance Williams.
He is?
No, he was.
Well, you guys are sitting or standing? You want us to
Okay, this group over here.
No, come on, go. Barbara, get in here.
They said it couldn't be done.
This way.
babe. Squeeze in.
Come on, Chris, right up here.
We're being robbed!
They were telling us.
Okay, great shot. Okay, ready? On 3.
How many? Yeah, you went to Santa Cruz.
That's it. I'm a graduate. Ready? On 3. 1. Yeah, I'll be in a couple. We're going to do this about 3 or 4 times, so don't disband after the first one. 1, 2. Everybody looking here. Big smiles. 3. Okay, one more time. Oh, man, what a group. 1, 2, 25. 2, 3, go. Okay, one more.
Don't do this for a living.
Okay, I'm popping in this one.
Come on,
guys. Come on. Yeah, are you still being in for now?
It's on time.
It's on a time.
All by itself. You're supposed to be in it.
I'll be in
Right.
One more time. Best picture I've taken all of One more time.
Can I try to make all
No problem.
Can I tell you this one? I can't take much of that stuff. Sorry, guys.
Miller, squeeze in, babe. Now don't hide behind him. Get down here in front. Okay, here we go.
Alligator. Say pumpernickel. Pumpernickel.
Who told me we wouldn't do that?
Good job.
No pictures. Paparazzi, no pictures. No pictures. Doesn't he look like a thin version of George Seifert?
So I forgot to tell you that I still hold the donut eating championship in Santa Cruz.
How did you get that?
Ask anyone, they'll tell you.
From Farrell's?
Yeah, you bet.
I got a great idea. These are for people who, really don't have it together, okay?
Okay.
All right, and there's a lot of us out there, okay? You'd be a perfect consumer. I'm going to have these little caps like baseball caps, right? Little hand on the top. They'll be called handicaps. What do you think? All right, you heard it first right here.
This is Nicholas. Isn't it Nicholas? Yeah. Nicholas. How old are you? 2?
Nicholas, what's your last name, Nicholas?
What did you go
Nicholas,
swimming?
no.
Tell him what you do. He didn't want to.
I just spelled
Who
that.
does Nicholas
NGO.
belong to?
Sandy. Sandy and
Linda.
Sandy
As
and
mutual property.
This is Janet Morandi, known as Bird and Nude.
her feet are burning up on the floor.
Oh, sorry. And this is Annie, known as Annie Fanny. And what else? Blue sunglasses, and peace, love, and hippies.
Our money.
Okay, and what's your name, sir?
George.
George?
This is George Donovan.
Tim.
This music is making me weak in the knees. It's giving me absolutely my first acid flashback. I mean, look, they told us banana skins would make us high, and they lied to us. And I thought acid flashbacks were also lied. Really, people, it's true. These people are psychedelic. Listen to the pig, man. The pig is going,
Tell me about your most memorable Grateful Dead or experience at a Grateful Dead. I know they probably all kind of know.
I remember. It was at the Cow Palace on a New Year's Eve, where it wasn't really a Grateful Dead concert. The Allman Brothers were playing, but the Dead were not scheduled. So we went to see the Allman Bros. Jerry and Kreutzmann and everybody came and jammed with them. It was really good. And all the crowd was really rowdy and drunk and on Reds because they went to see the Allman Brothers. So Steve Donahue and I handed out incredible of marijuana that were really powerful. And people fell down around us and they left us alone. They were being really rowdy. We didn't like them. We got them overstoned and they just passed out. There was like a whole field of bodies around us. No, we just stayed there. It was like
Kind of like the puppies in the Wizard of Oz.
yeah, suddenly we could see, it was like a magical experience. Yeah, we took the rest of our J's and we moved towards the stage and that was it, And once again, my attorney has given me a gag order that says I should not speak to this.
What's your name? Tell him. You can tell him. Tell him. This is John Teal, Richard Jonathan Teal. Yeah. Say hi. Wave at the camera. Can you wave at the camera?
Okay, Rich. Tell me about yourself. What you been doing lately?
Well, what? Well,
This is part of it.
this is definitely part of it. We've been raising a couple of kids. I'm a jeweler in San Jose in the Fairmont Hotel, and I'm working too long. Yeah, I'm working too many hours and enjoying it though, so that's good. Very creative and expressive, and I like it a lot.
Very lucrative.
Occasionally lucrative, occasionally highly risky. so
And you are living.
we're living in Los Gatos. We just moved there in September. We have a nice little house. We have a backyard again, so that's nice. It doesn't quite rival that of Rigg Street, but
Tell me a little bit about Rigg Street. What was it like living there?
Oh, we loved it. Rigg Street was an institution. Look what kind of people it spawned, you know?
Yes.
I mean, this is a ball. We had a ball. It was
Sort of mental institution.
It was kind of a mental.
Given the intellect of the gathered people.
The gathered masses. Anyway, no, it was a wonderful meeting point for everybody. We had that for about 10 years almost, and then finally sold it when I went looking for Lori. So I left Santa Cruz and found Lori Tahaney and married her, and here's our kids, and we're living in Los Gatos.
What were you like when you first went to Santa Cruz?
Good question. Interesting to reflect. Everybody ought to be reflecting
When
on
you
this.
left Santa Cruz?
But no, when I went to Santa Cruz, coming from high school, I was a math major, very naive, and I don't know, eager.
As his roommate, yes, he was very naive, and I was there when he lost
most of his naivete.
pieces along the way.
Tell me a story about Santa Cruz.
Oh, jeez. How many of them could there be?
I'll tell you a story about Rich.
Tell me a story about it.
Okay.
I don't care. It's fine.
Well, basically, the morning after the first night Rich got high, he bought his first lid.
That much of an impact.
Immediately.
He was selling.
No, never did that.
Don't worry, we'll add it.
Good, I hope so. I just remember Santa Cruz as being a very pleasant time and very lighthearted. We didn't have to worry about much. You know, you could. There weren't the diseases that there are now. There weren't the stressful times and things. I mean, it was a very idyllic period. I loved it.
Now you lived in when you were. I think I remember you first when I was a freshman. You lived in dorm 6.
No, it was dorm 5.
Yeah, right across from dorm 8.
Yeah, dorm 5 was a fun time too. We had the basement zoo was there.
The basement zoo, the smoke-filled rooms.
And what was the upstairs? I don't recall.
Who were some of the people that lived there then? Do you remember?
You can answer that pretty well.
Oh, well, Rich and I, we became roommates our second year. Mike Hatashida, Kevin McCall, a guy named Jack Williamson, Bruce Behrens, John Sugar. These were older guys, very experienced, knowledgeable people, about 20.
And then later on there was John DeWeese, Michael Fahey.
Brian Lindsley was an early person.
Yeah.
He left pretty quickly.
We had a lot.
Jim Norris.
Jim Norris was there. I had a roommate named Mark Schaefer, and he was a great guy.
The Whittier Whomper.
That's true. We had a good basketball team.
Yep.
We thought it was good. I don't know if we beat anybody in retrospect.
We were the Deadly Bees one year.
There was a gentleman. I don't know if should we call him a gentleman anyway, who was dribbling the basketball behind a lit cigarette You remember who that was, don't you?
George Bennett.
George Bennett.
You remember Randy Whitfield?
Very much so.
Yeah, sure I do.
I don't know.
Randy.
In Oklahoma was just where he was from.
That's right, Tulsa, if I recall. Randy lived, he had a sister or a cousin who lived in Santa Monica, and he spent many a month there going to school, doing other things, and that was sort of his home base in Southern California. And then he did return to either the Midwest or Oklahoma. Is that the Midwest? Is that the Plains? I seem to recall he returned there for more schooling, and I suspect he's an academician of one sort or another.
And he had his roommate,
Kirk Thomas? Yeah? This guy's got a good memory, too.
Very good memory.
I think it was first year, and we're all living on campus. And Michael Peck, Tim Donahue, Rob Clark, who else? Hatch. All drop acid before lunch, and I'm like the little nurse. And so we all go into the cafeteria, and they just load up their trays with food. Just, everything looks so good. Their trays are just loaded with food. We sit down at the table in the dining hall, and I start eating, and they look at their trays, and all of a sudden they just all look at each other and say, we got to get out of here, and stand up and run out the door. And I'm sitting at this table in the dining hall with 5 trays full of food. I'm looking around like, oh, no problem. This always happens when I come to lunch with these guys. That's my other.
Our cookies were probably growing.
I love you, Mike Peck. I love you, Mike
I think Steve
Peck.
Carlson picked you up or something, and we met in a bar, and then you had all of these 8x10 glossies of these plants that I just couldn't believe.
Yeah, there's a geranium, and there was a.
They were like 20 feet tall.
Oh, are you just drinking water these days, Tim Donahue?
So that's the one time I remember that really memorable. So I was
He's playing volleyball. Okay, I'll meet you there.
Well, I work for nonprofit housing development corporations, and I take contracts and stuff.
What's the name of the organization?
Well, I work for anybody who'll hire me.
So hired gun.
And nobody's been hiring me lately. Where's this video gonna go? My rate has gone way down. It's half what it was a few months ago.
Fire sale.
Do you enjoy doing what you're doing?
Overall, I just.
You're married, right?
Yes.
And who are you married to?
I'm married to John here.
Hello. Hey, John. What do you do, John?
Well, I'm a civil engineer.
And,
well, she's an interesting person. She's very committed to her job, and sometimes she ought to be committed after getting some of her jobs. I'll give it back to Katrina.
Yeah. You want to interview my daughter here?
Yeah.
Andrea.
Andrea,
you want to be on TV? She's the curly one. She's 3 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're going to have a little boy in September.
Name Henry.
Named Henry.
Don't you want to talk to the people?
Come on. Come here, Andy. Oh, we're wasting time.
And, okay, now tell me about Santa Cruz. What was it like for you going there?
Santa Cruz? Well, it was fine. I had gone to Riverside for the first year and a quarter.
What do you think of? Was it a big change? Or?
Yes, I was very traumatized by the change.
Well,
Riverside was more traditional, and you had survey courses and stuff, and
what
more
did you like
structure.
better? Did you like the
Slow
structure?
down, be careful.
Yes, I think that was easier for me. But I enjoyed Santa Cruz nonetheless.
Did it change you much?
Santa Cruz?
Yeah. Or did you change Santa Cruz? What did you like when you got there? How would you?
What was I like? I was homesick. I wanted to. What was I like?
Sophomore year, like, was that bad?
I can't go into this personal stuff. I was a complete nutcase. I was a wreck.
Why did you go to Santa Cruz?
I really liked the setting, and I had good friends there, including Gene McGinnis.
Yeah.
And I made a lot more friends, and I ended up liking the English department. I was a literature major.
Uh-huh.
And So it was a good experience.
And could you tell us any stories about things that happened in Santa Cruz? Like,
No.
tell us the most unusual character you remember from Santa Cruz.
Michael Peck.
Next most interesting character.
Oh God, there were too many.
Well, that's a pretty severe drop-off there.
No, I think Michael Peck was about extraordinary. It's good. This is what I see in the very near future. Well, in the very near future, I'm going to have this little baby boy, which I'm a little worried because it's a boy, see?
Really?
Yeah.
You know it's going to be a boy?
Yeah. And I can't imagine bringing up a boy, but I guess a lot of mothers have done it, haven't they?
How do you like being a mother so far?
Well, I like it, but you're always torn between working and staying with your child. It's a big tear. So I think that's in the future for a while. And whether I ever get away from these kids and go back to work, I don't know. But it's on my mind a lot.
Good.
That give you enough meat for your
Sounds good.
I bought my first car. It was a 59 Rambler, two-tone sedan with seats. Yeah, seats that went all the way back down. Took Michael Peck out to have a look. You were amazed. And then I had to buy it with cash, right? And Michael came up with the cash.
I did?
I assume it was... I was...
Such a thing.
Yeah, so I knew that the only person in Santa Cruz who had $600 in cash, that was a lot of money in those days, was my... handed it over, and I went out to the used car lot in San Jose and handed him $600, and it was great. And then when I tried to get $600 out of the Bank of America, they said, "Are you sure you want $600 in cash? Are you sure?" Because I had to repay. Anyway.
What happened to the car?
It finally, I sold it to some Okies in Salinas, and then I saw it in a car wrecking lot off of 101, and it was really sad. I went in, and yeah, they had all the receipts and everything, and Mabel was dead. Remember that? And the car, the passenger side, the door on the passenger side didn't open. Is that right? And used to terrorize hitchhikers, right? Because you had to open it
Right.
like women hitchhikers.
Yes, right. And I go, the door doesn't open.
Terrible.
No, I'm not still eating. I'm checking the food. I'm doing inventory of where we're at, where we've been, and where we're going, pal.
Long ago, once upon a time, there was a patch far away in the woods, but not far away enough. And we were concerned about deer, yeah, a patch, right. We were concerned about deer and other predators. So Rob Clark came up with this great idea. What you do is you tie a string to a clothespin, and you make the clothespin has wires coming in from each side, and you put a little piece of wood between there, and you stretch the string across the entrance to the patch so that if anything comes by, it pulls the clothespin off, and that closes the contact, and a big loud bell goes off, for which you need a battery or some source of electrical power. Well, the battery was put in my house with a wire out to the bell, which was right next to the patch, so it would be really loud to scare off the deer. And then it rained one night when I wasn't at home. And after the rain, the sun came up and shrank the string, which pulled the clothespin off, which caused the bell to go off, which caused my neighbors to call the bomb squad, who followed the wire down the hill and into my front door.
What happened?
Nothing. This was a long time ago. When you could get away with things like that.
That's a new Rob Clark story.
There you go.
One I haven't heard. Thank you. And what do you do?
You're very welcome. I'm editing.
You're what?
I'm editing. I'm an editor. I'm putting a book together for UC Press, a scholarly edition of Thomas Carlyle, to be published by UC Press this very year. It's fantastic. It's in their spring catalog, so I better finish it real soon. And I'm going to school and getting an MA in philosophy.
Where are you going to school?
San Jose State. It's the only MA program in commuting distance from Ben Lomond.
This will be edited out also.
Joe Kelly, this is yours. That's me. Married to Louise. Louise is a Santa Cruz
As a Dickens.
Graduate.
Yep.
An immigration attorney. They're poor. They're like family law with Oakland. I live pretty near Katrina, actually. Yeah. And live on the same street that Steve Sachs was renting on about 8 years ago, apparently.
We say to our friend Glenna. Glenna did not come today.
Glenna, if you didn't come today, I hope you never come again.
Whoa! And she means it.
And I mean it from my soul.
No.
Okay.
Now, Jeannie was about to tell us a story.
Oh,
excuse me, I just want to say, Glenna, the reason you didn't come is because you were talking about you like this. We know that.
And you must get your batteries recharged. No, I would just like to say that this has been a lovely time. Divine. And if I was to tell you the weirdest experience that I ever had in Santa Cruz, we would have to cover it from the time that I moved there to the time that I left. Yeah, really.
One big, long, weird experience.
Yes, and it was the best.
Huge weird experience.
Which is continuing now, but just not in Santa Cruz. Tell Howard if he sees this to give me a call. He's so cute. Howard, okay? And you too, after you...
Rutenberg. H-O-W-A-R-D. R-U-G-T.
When I first came to Santa Cruz?
Yeah.
Well, like everybody else, we had never lived away from home before, although I did, actually.
Yeah.
Because I lived in Mexico for 3 months.
Right.
But, I mean, it was the time where we all grew emotionally. And it was just great times. All the dorm people, like Louise, for instance. Louise!
Jeannie wants to meet you. Oh, well, wait. Okay, all I can say is,
to meet me.
wait until you get the tape, Howard. H-O-W-A-R-D. Go on.
So, what else? Let's see if I can do a quick overview of Santa Cruz. The dorm, the first year was always great. You remember. What dorm were you in?
Dorm 8.
You were down in the lower quad. Well, we were there in dorm 1 with Sid, Mark Riegelman was my roommate, and Janet also lived with us. And Cynthia Geyer lived upstairs. And her roommate was Kathy Roars. Remember her? Okay, but she had to move to College 5. She took Janet's room in College 5. Oh, here's a good story. I'll never forget coming up to Santa Cruz for the first time. Actually, I had been there once before in February of '71 when the big LA earthquake happened, because my high school was closed for a week, so my friend and I moved up to Santa Cruz. Okay, but when we moved up there, my parents took me up there. And of course, you didn't know who you were going to be with in the dorms, who your roommate was. So I was there first, had everything all taken care of, everything all set out. And suddenly, the door slams open, and in comes this big guy like this. Okay, under one arm was his surfboard, under his other arm was his girlfriend, Janet. And that was Mark Riegelman, Sid. So he was into surfing, and he was one of those guys that should have been born black because all he listened to was Motown, and he thought he was very hip and had a lot of rhythm and things like that. So of course he told Janet, shooed her out, told her to go to her room, and the first thing he did is sit down and he loaded up some hash in a pipe, and we smoked some of that. And but Mark was a good guy, and I think he dropped out after a year. But in the dorms, all I remember was there was another guy named Howie on our floor. He was kind of thin with blonde hair. And then Cynthia and Kathy Roars lived upstairs. And Louise lived downstairs. And Jan and Blaze, Jan and Blaze, whatever, they lived downstairs. And Ron Blair was in our dorm too.
All right.
And I remember the dorms. I remember lots of parties we had. Oh, remember Stevenson College, the first year, when we were still in the dorms, had a Halloween party. And I think one of the dorms, they made into this huge haunted house. Okay, that was good. Okay, a couple other things to remember for the viewers. Remember the maze? Of course. I heard they did away with the maze, though.
Yeah, they did.
Okay, so that's well worth remembering.
Classic group had...
Well, I guess
I wouldn't know who it was.
Yeah.
Can I get interviewed?
All the time I did.
When you put a name.
Hi.
Yep.
Hi. January 18th.
1989.
1989.
But it's been really nice seeing all our old friends.
Help me, Poorie.
And believe me, they are old now.
Help me, Poorie.
I'm at 8901 Highway 9,
Yeah.
Ben Lomond, California,
Okay.
with my son Bertrand on my left and my wife Suzanne to my right here, and I'm in the lounging room of one of my elderly friends, Michael Peck, the first of my friends to become a committed skinhead.
And
Part of my religion.
when he was a baby, he died of Fernie's pain.
Did he? Well,
How do you know? Who told you?
He wasn't the only one. And I recall one or two coming from an orifice attached to your body, lad. Anyway, well, I've had a lovely holiday. I have. We've been 2 or 3 slightly confusing days.
But I had a lovely holiday too.
Most of those,
Very, very.
and those confusing days have been a result of being worn out from too much activity, I'd say.
Anything you'd like to say to the Bert 10 years from now?
Yeah. Do you want to say anything to Bert who's anything?
I do. There's something I'd like to say to the Bert 10 years from now. Listen, Bert.
I'm gonna get mine.
At the age of 16, I hope you can appreciate how hard your parents have worked for you, lad. What they have done for you. And I hope,
Body language.
The perspective. Yes.
I hope that you can
Hope you don't
see
turn your pants.
what we have struggled to achieve for you, lad.
To a
And that you will
perfect
make it up to us all by leaving home as soon as possible. Now that you're 16 years old, it's time for you to stand on your own 2 feet, get out,
And
make
do
a
a
living,
pay.
and send some money home to your folks.
It's about time they retired.
It's
right?
about time your elderly parents, your folks now, son, as 10 years have gone, I don't look young and beautiful anymore like I do now, do I? I'm a wrinkled old shell of a man. And I haven't got the get up and go of a spry young buck of 35.
That's me, Bristol. She'll tell you all about it. But you're Nazis, that's what it is. Nazis are everywhere. Oh, man. I knew it was, but the bad habits he had. Well,
Whistle for your beloved.
pardon me. Now, while I do this, I'll hum Silent Night. Sorry about this. Oh! There, thanks, ladies and gentlemen.
Take 181, warbling vireo. Page 184, black and white warbler. Page 185, proprietary warbler. Page 185, Swinton warbler. Page 185, worm-eating warbler. Page 188, golden-winged warbler. Page 188, blue-winged warbler.
We prefer Australian ginger, because Australian ginger we found has the most actual ginger-producing molecules in it. Some gingers are far too fibrous for this purpose, but Australian ginger is actually just what you need. This is a child.
What for ginger-producing molecules?
Ginger-producing molecules. This is a child.
That's a child.
It's a child. It's a fine-looking example of a child.
Fine specimen.
Fine specimen. No, I don't know. I read it somewhere about ginger-producing molecules. So this is an adequate. We're talking quantities for one drink only. So it's very important that she be revived because she's no good for either of her two key functions here, which are packing the bags and having sex with me.
So that's what this ginger is good for.
That's what he's trying to bring away.
I'm quite keen to get her on her feet again, so to speak, or at least on her back. We keep all of our recycling materials in here.
Rick, great to see you in this. Really great.
You're not taking a picture of this, are you?
Oh, no.
Okay.
You still
got in my nose and it's killing me. Now we'll give Suzanne 2 cups of this. And within minutes, I'll have her in bed.
Or else she'll be in bed, right?
Natural need to nurture sick women. For very different reasons than women nurture children and men. Women do it out of an altruistic sense of loving to see life maintained and looked after properly. Men, it's strictly, I gotta get some. Okay. Now we'll take this to our patient and watch the remarkable recovery.
1 second.
You advertising Campbell's soup, isn't it? I'll blow my nose.
Very good.
What is it with you and your nose?
Farewell. See you in another 10 years.
Say goodbye to all the people who didn't get to see you.
Look, I really made my best effort to see everybody I could. If I missed you, it's not because I don't love you, and not because I don't think about you, but it was just circumstance.
Yeah, right.
Could you hold it for me?
Take it, but don't break it. Good God, y'all.
Is there room enough back there? Okay, wave.
How far are we going like this?
Not far, just Santa Cruz. It'll only be 15 minutes. Okay, wait.
Well, goodbye, folks. Rick Hatch, you look like a great dad, and you're having fun with your kid. Nice to see you. Pan to Chris's finger. This is what I put up with night and day and night, as a mother. I'm going to find you a Band-Aid, honey. So, Michael, what I want to say is you kept asking me if I had a story about Santa Cruz, and I just want to say, no, I don't, because Santa Cruz was then, and this is now. And it's fantastic to see everybody. And I love you all.
Yes, interrupt this, please.
I don't interrupt this for a cut finger. This is reality TV. And I love you all the way you are now, and it's fantastic to see everybody. And it was a good party. And I love you. Okay. Bye-bye.
I love you, Pac.
Okay, George, tell us about Santa Cruz. How do you like it? Okay, tell us what you're doing these days.
I want to tell about you.
She says everything.
Can I see that picture?
Yeah. I don't think you were
And when was this taken around? Does anybody remember?
1980, 1979.
This was right after Steve's.
No, 77. 77 or 78.
77 at Bimbo's.
Yeah, 78.
This is Steve Borges.
Right after his operation.
Not here, but wishes he could be.
And I love the wax job. Really? I can't get that nice hairline.
I'm still in El Centro, just east of San Diego, and still working with the Valley Shopper, which is the first time I've been up and visited with these folks probably since, I say 6 or 7 years anyway. So it's really been fun. I have a family, my wife Susie, and we have a new baby boy who's Michael Jr., and he's about 8 weeks old. And a little baby girl, Venice, who's 2.5. Santa Cruz is great. It's a very hard place to leave. So, and I haven't been back there in a while. We're gonna stop by, I think, on the way back. But this is anyway. This is my wife Susie, and this is little Michael that we were talking about. And he's about 8 weeks old today, I think. So
8 weeks.
We're here tonight to tell you a little bit about the physical plant and the tree crew. Now, many of us at Santa Cruz gained a significant portion of our incomes working in the poison oak and poison ivy, earning a little bit of cash. Now, here's Howard Rudenberg, who worked with physical plant. Now, were you in the tree crew or in physical plant?
No, I was actually in physical plant, and we actually had this big old truck that we used to drive around and deliver toilet paper and other supplies to the dormitories, and especially, and this was during one summer, and I remember, perhaps you remember too, Steve, when they had I think it was the National Cheerleading Camp.
The cheerleading camp is something I wanted to ask you about in particular.
Yeah.
I remember working the registration desk personally at the cheerleading camp. What were your recollections?
My recollection, we were driving around in the truck for physical plant, delivering, and we often stopped to view the groups of cheerleaders working out on their various routines.
Now, these were young cheerleaders.
These were young girls, young nubile, all virgins, by the way, and it was a very interesting sight.
Right. And we were scruffy hippies that they would have nothing to do with.
Exactly. But it was nice. And in the summer in particular, if you recall, it got very hot in Santa Cruz. And if you were working on the tree crew, in the physical plant too, it did get up to in the hundreds at times, of course. And
true,
this was labor. I mean, many of our friends made money other ways, which may not be. They were not able to put on.
You can't speak if you come.
They were not able to put upon their tax returns the exact description of their job. But students like myself and Steve Carlson, of course, we made a legitimate living breaking our backs, working for the University of California. And our characters were built up much more than these other less than legal types of jobs.
I remember in physical plant we put resin coatings on the floors of like heating duct rooms, and it's probably cancerous material. Do you think we might have some legal recourse due to later?
Absolutely, no question about it. And I think maybe you should call Ron Blair, and he'll be happy to sue for you.
Now, did you work for Tree Crew or physical plant?
No, I was in physical plant.
You were physical plant. Oh, and where in physical plant did you work?
I worked in the what would you call it, the supply house where all the goodies were, did inventory, that sort of thing. Yeah.
So what kind of supplies?
Pipes and nails and boards and fittings and those sorts of things. Pipe dope and all that sort of stuff they have there for the
pipe dope.
Pipe dope, yeah.
Did you? Do you think you might have you had any physical maladies since then that might be attributable to?
Because besides the constant wheezing
the constant wheezing
and the little tick that he had.
The tick.
Those are the.
What do you think about this, Attorney Rutenberg?
I think that, as I say, I think we should call Ron Blair, and he'll do a class action of all of us that worked at physical plant or the tree crew.
Yeah, very good.
We all have some problems here with our health. Wait.
That's right. Some of us still have poison oak from you.
Exactly.
Yeah, I have a small patch right here. Poison oak from 1972.
We used to go around killing black widow spiders out in the yard. Remember the yard out?
Oh, yeah. Where I used to try to go take off my shirt and fall asleep. I was getting in trouble when I did.
How did we all get caught up in working at physical?
I was envious, though.
It was the easiest job you could get. That's why I got caught up.
Let's get Randy over here now.
Remember the cheerleaders?
Randy, we're talking about physical plant and tree crew.
Tree crew. I too was on tree crew.
Randy, tell us about your experiences.
Well, my arms still itch. I get poison oak on a regular basis, and I
another part of the class.
Another part of the class, yes, no, but I enjoyed tree crew, and what I liked best was chopping up all that manzanita, and then we took it home, and some nice people from another part of physical plant went out and got salmon, and we'd barbecue the salmon and use this.
You mean poachers?
Yes, poachers. Yes, using university equipment to catch these salmon, and we'd barbecue them on the manzanita, which of course now is big thing to have. This hardwoods in your fish, but we were way ahead of it.
You were way ahead of it.
But tree crew, it's a good thing. Just don't get poison.
And then when you worked in physical plant, where did you work?
Oh,
where did you work?
Well, I worked with Frank Murray and Ann Hafner, and we worked in the crib, the tool crib.
That's it, the crib.
There we the crib.
And we supplied, and Mike Peck was there also, and John McCann. John McCann over here.
Did you have a few beers? Did you have a few beers after the work day? Or?
Oh, after the work day. Oh, yes, we did a serious. But we supplied the university. All the people were working with their plumbing, their cleaning
pipe
goods.
Dope. I think
pipe dope.
Pipe
dope. Oh, yes.
Toilet paper.
Dope. Yes, all the dope. Toilet paper. No, all that.
There to completely carpet our Main Street house.
Yes. This is true.
Furniture crew with Borges and Benny.
Yes.
Furniture crew.
Furniture crew. Moving furniture around. I don't know that I did that.
Cheerleader camp. Did
No,
you ever have a chance
I was
to work
not
at
cheerleader camp. I was just up on the hill lusting, looking down at the young cheerleader girls. Why am I holding this?
Well, let me
ask you another thing. I remember the fabulous Firebird. You had a fabulous Firebird. And I remember one night coming back from a concert. It went vroom vroom. That's very good. And we were coming back from something, and it snowed over the Santa Cruz Mountains.
Ooh, yes.
And I might have been taking something for a cold at the time.
Yes.
Maybe.
Perhaps your nose or your head.
And I remember the fabulous Firebird spinning around.
You mean the front wheels were where the back wheels should be, and the back wheels
something
were
like
where the
that,
front
and
wheels
almost going into some barrier.
I think we slipped and slid around.
Did we do that? And where were we? Who knows?
Skyline, maybe?
We were coming back on
perhaps in Ben Lomond.
Almost lost the fabulous Firebird that
lost
night.
And its occupants. And I would like to note, just for your information, kids, we did not have our seatbelts on. Don't ever drive without your seatbelts.
Wear your seatbelts.
It's the word for 1992. But
bad, real bad.
Well,
real bad.
That about wraps it up for
It's
our
a wrap for the tree crew. Thanks, tree crew.
for Tree Crew and Shop. Thank you.
I want to get to say goodbye. A cheerful goodbye.
Tearful or cheerful?
No, tearful.
Tearful and cheerful.
Can we have a little more tears, please?
I almost cried about Ron today, but
It was so good.
it was happy.
You guys were
tears.
both surprised, right?
Oh yeah, really surprised. I'm really grateful to.
If you remember, should we say back here?
Yeah, I'm in and out.
Okay, would you? We're gonna be in Fairmont this weekend.
Bye.
Yeah, see you next year.
We'll keep you
See you next year.
Next year?
Yeah, decade. We're talking 90.
Oh my God. Hi, I'm Nancy. They got me. They got me before I left. I'm Nancy Bronstein. I have been doing lots of things, but I don't know. Right now, I'm the mom of 3 kids and having a great time being at home with my kids and doing all kinds of things with them. Of course they are. Well, Mandy, this is one. This is Sarah. Sarah's 7.5 years old, going into 2nd grade. And I've got, where'd the other one go? This is Mandy. This is my youngest. She's going to be 4. Yeah.
Thanks for having us. It's really great
to see everybody. And Jessie must be running around someplace, but she's in between these two. And she's 5, that's right. I used to work, I don't work anymore for money.
I didn't inhale.
The whole time.
Ever. And I didn't swallow. And I didn't do anything.
And which primaries are you entering?
You'll see
And
me in Wisconsin.
And how about Jennifer?
I don't know Jennifer's.
How about this